me guess. Y'all are going to be all the way outside when it's 70 degrees next week, right?
I might be. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yes.
And you said it's daylight savings?
Daylight savings.
I'm mad about that.
I mean, Chatterboxx.
You guys been asking, like wondering, where am I? What I've been up to? And I've been seeing the comments. So I'm back by popular demand.
Popular demand is a pretty big stretch, and she doesn't even subscribe to the Patreon, so how is she reading the comments? Remember, she told us that last time she was there. Lord help us. This must be the JBP bat signal that somebody got put on timeout or somebody got fired.
Oh, magic.
Now hold on, not so fast, because Sasha is on this episode, and what does she start talking about right away? How she was able to leverage her appearance on there, and she starts talking about what she's been working on. Girl.
I am so thankful for being on the platform too, because the visibility that was given to me.
They gonna kill you.
Yeah, and I made a lot of money since.
Just look at Ish's face. You can tell Joe is over there on his couch cutting up, and Ish is trying not to look at him. At least we got a full cast with her being on this Patreon, so hopefully they'll be able to help her out with Joe, Flip, Imani, Ish, Sasha's in the middle, Freeze, Mark, and Parks. And they get right into the topics that none of us can escape. Epstein and the Clintons. But they didn't stay there for long, okay? They moved on to talking about the times that they have accidents. Remember Joe talked about the accident that he had at his birthday party? I'll spare y'all the details. Despite saying that he wasn't supposed to talk about this incident in public, what does he go on to do? Talks about it in public several times for way too many minutes. And I'm wondering if this is his get back to Sade when he doesn't agree with something that she said or did. This is how he gets her back. So I don't know. What do y'all think about that? Because there is absolutely no way that he should be giving that descriptive of a story and painting a picture on how Sade had to clean up after him. Now, as far as the episode goes, I think I'm finally getting what's going on why the episodes to me feel kind of like surface and lackluster, to where, yes, they're talking about topics. Some of them are more serious. Some of them are funny. But it overall feels like it is missing one key element. Now, we know that he has been talking about preparing for marriage. I talked about pod wives in the prior video I dropped. Go check that out if you haven't, where he said pod wives is coming back. He's talked about how they didn't really do Valentine's Day because they've been saving money. And you ain't hear from me, but I don't think it's because he's building that house. I think that neighbor lawsuit is giving him a run for his money.
It's a trip, but I ain't one to gossip, so if anyone asks you, you ain't heard it from me. No, you haven't.
But I finally think I understand what's going on. First and foremost, the rotation. They cannot find a chemistry and a rhythm if he keeps rotating out the cast and the different people. Like I said with this one, they had every seat filled, and pleasantly, no one was talking over each other. Mark did leave midway, so that was one mic less. And at some point, Flip was no longer on the couch, so he got up and went somewhere. But the one key element that I feel has been missing from the podcast, which has been making it lackluster and kind of a bit dull, in my opinion, it's not the topics, because they have those covered, from the serious ones to the trending ones. It's not the baddies. It is the one thing that reeled a lot of us in. It is the one thing that a lot of the other podcasts cannot duplicate. This key element is very important, and I feel like what separates Joe Budden and the JBP from the rest. It is his stories. Where does he get those stories from? Being outside, being at Starlet's, although he did say that may have temporarily closed, going out to the restaurants and running into Ish. He always seemed to have a lot of stories regardless of what day of the week it was. And it seems like that is really slowing down on this next chapter, whether it's focusing on getting married, the house, kids, business, whatever the case is, and what each chapter looks like for them. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just think that we are witnessing the evolution of the JBP firsthand, because when you really sit back and think about it, the Joe Budden podcast that a lot of people may have fell in love with, that version of Joe Budden, he was the outside Joe Budden and would come back and tell those stories, whether it was from him being outside at the club, a restaurant, or telling a random story. But it always had to do with outside, and those stories turned into funny pod moments. So if Joe and the rest of the cast maybe are in a different phase of their life. Whatever life may bring, then naturally the content is gonna change. And I could not quite put my finger on what it was. Like, even trying to make videos and give my takes, it was like, there's something missing. And I could not quite put my finger on it until he started telling his story about his birthday party. And don't get me wrong, it's not that the podcast is bad. It's that the energy is different. Because before, the podcast felt like we were hearing those stories from somebody who had just walked in the door from outside 5 minutes ago. Like, yo, I got to tell y'all what happened. And now it feels more like a round table discussion of topics. At least for me, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I way off? Are you feeling the same thing? Because I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all. I'm just saying that there is a shift, in my opinion, that's happening. And I think that's why we're seeing them experiment more with rotation. You know, Sasha's back on this episode, different guests, different voices, different perspectives, and all that is good stuff. Like, I really enjoyed the Teddy Riley interview. I enjoyed Miss Jill Scott up there. That was an incredible interview. All I know is if Joe isn't bringing those outside stories anymore, then they're going to need these other personalities in the room to keep the dynamic interesting. And hopefully what he's doing will work. But I will say with this episode, you heard me mention that they weren't really talking over each other. Even with all the mics, it flowed a lot better than some of the other ones. Flip is back. He's got his energy, which it felt like they kind of were trying to put him in a box for a minute. He came back rejuvenated. Everybody got to get their points off for the most part, except when Ish did get up and walk away and Imani's like, let me talk, or something to that effect. But when the conversation moved from topic to topic, they all pivoted with each other. And I think they really did a good job. And that's when the pod works best. But the big question is going to be, what does this next era of the JBP actually look like? Because we might be in the middle of that transition right now. The old Joe Budden podcast, we know for most of us that were here from the Rory and Maul era and moving along with the JBP, we heard the chaos, the outside stories, all the wild moments. We had the Joe, Ish, Freeze, and Parks wave. Then we had the Bionic Six. Now we have this rotating cast, which seems like they're doing more structured conversations, different personalities, different life stages. And don't think I didn't miss that cover photo change by B. on Twitter. Now, with all this rotating happening, like I said, it's not a bad thing. But for me, it's taken some getting used to, especially because I have been listening for years and we're seeing the formula change a bit again. So I'm curious, how long have you been listening to the JBP? Drop your number below. What do you notice is changing on the Joe Budden podcast? And how do you like the rotating cast? Do you think the JBP is evolving, or do you think something more important is missing? Drop your thoughts below. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe on your preferred social. And let's talk about it in the comments.